if I asked you who the most dangerous character in Hunter x Hunter is, who would you think of first? Maruam Krallo, the Phantom Troop, some powerful leader with a big ideology behind him. Now what if I told you that the real danger in the series is a guy who wants to rule nothing, change nothing, and does not even care about where the story is going, because HISOKA only wants to have fun. And that makes him far more terrifying than any traditional villain. From HISOKA's very first appearance in the Hunter exam, the anime makes it clear that this character does not follow any common moral logic. He kills on a whim, provokes for pleasure, and watches people as if he were choosing pieces on a board. And the strangest part is that he never tries to hide it. On the contrary, HISOKA makes sure everyone knows exactly who he is from the beginning. While other characters have clear goals, past trauma, or some kind of justification for their actions, HISOKA simply exists to fight, and not to fight for survival or necessity, but to fight for the feeling, for the adrenaline, for the moment when the opponent finally reaches their peak and can give him a truly satisfying experience. And that is exactly why so many people are wrong when they try to label HISOKA as a villain or an anti-hero, because he does not fit into any of those categories. HISOKA does not care about good or evil, he cares about the game, the thrill, the fun, and if helping a protagonist today means trying to kill him tomorrow, that creates no inner conflict for him. During the Hunter exam, for example, HISOKA helps Gon several times, indirectly saves his life, and even teaches him important lessons. But there is no altruism in that. HISOKA sees Gon as an investment, someone who might one day become strong enough to satisfy his desire for a fight taken to the absolute limit, and that becomes clear in the almost obsessive way he follows the boy's growth. That obsession is intentionally uncomfortable, and it is not a random detail. It exists to show just how twisted HISOKA's mind really is, because he does not see people as people, he sees potential, and potential for him means future pleasure, not friendship, not admiration, and definitely not empathy. HISOKA is dangerous because he is unpredictable, while villains like Maruam or Krallo follow a logical line of thinking, with internal rules and defined objectives. HISOKA switches sides without warning, betrays alliances without guilt, and decides his actions based solely on how interesting something feels at that exact moment. His relationship with the Phantom Troop is the perfect example of this. HISOKA joins the group not out of loyalty, not because he agrees with their ideals, and not even out of respect for Krallo. He joins because it gives him access to strong fighters, and most importantly because it brings him closer to the ultimate prize, which is fighting the leader of the troop at his peak. And when that fight finally happens and HISOKA loses, instead of accepting defeat or rethinking his path, he simply decides that the game has changed, and starts hunting the Phantom Troop one by one, not out of revenge in the traditional sense, but because that reignites the pleasure of the hunt, the tension, and the constant danger. This moment marks an important shift in the character, because HISOKA stops being just a manipulative observer and becomes an active force of chaos within the story, someone who does not need a complex plan to create impact, because his mere presence already destabilizes everything around him. HISOKA's nun perfectly reflects his personality. Bungee gum is simple in theory but extremely creative and deadly in practice. Just like the character himself, he does not rely on exaggerated powers or absurd transformations. He wins by using intelligence, reading his opponent, and above all the ability to improvise in extreme situations. And that connects directly to Hunter x Hunter. As a series where raw strength is not always the deciding factor, but rather how a character understands their own power and their opponent's power, and in that sense HISOKA is always one step ahead, because he treats every fight like a performance, analyzing every move as if he were enjoying himself on a stage. What is most interesting is that even though he is such a disturbing character, HISOKA ends up being one of the most charismatic in the series, precisely because he breaks expectations. You never know if he will save someone, kill someone, or simply walk away bored, and that uncertainty keeps the viewer constantly on edge. HISOKA does not need to be the final villain to be unforgettable, because he does not depend on the story's conclusion to work. He is an agent of chaos who can enter and leave the narrative whenever he wants, always leaving consequences behind. And that is what makes him one of the best written characters in Hunter x Hunter. In the end, HISOKA represents something much deeper than just an eccentric antagonist. He represents the danger of having no moral limits at all, someone who lives only to satisfy his own impulses, without caring who gets hurt along the way. And maybe that is exactly why he is so terrifying, because while other villains believe they are right, HISOKA does not even worry about that. He just smiles, watches, and waits for the right moment to strike. And if you enjoy discovering these hidden stories from the world of anime, make sure to follow the Shonen Mind channel for more videos like this. Here, we explore the hidden side of the anime that shaped generations.